You're listening to the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. Now here's your hosts, Kevin, Derek, and Alex.
All right, and welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. I am Derek, and joined as always by your co-host Kevin and Alex. Alex is back. How are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
I'm doing pretty good, man. My Bulldogs beat.
You better be after Saturday.
Yeah. My Bulldogs beat the brakes off of Texas. The Broncos stomped a mud hole in Kansas City, and dude, my social media reels is just full of Kansas City people crying, crying about this. It's like, oh my gosh, like you guys are a bunch of babies. Like, take your L and get out of here, you 500 average team. You like. So I was pounding my chest pretty hard until I took a loss in the home league, and that humbled me a little bit, because you can't have too many nice things, right? You can't have too many things go your way.
Gotta stay level, right? Gotta stay level.
It honestly, overall is a pretty good week. Like, it fantasy wise, I had a pretty good week overall. Dropped one in the home league I wasn't happy about, but outside of that, I mean, I was pushing about a 80% clip across my leagues this week. So I was really happy with how it went overall.
I don't know if this is related, but I've had to obviously not join you guys, which has been tough over the last 3-ish months on a frequent basis. I think I've done one show since the birth of my kid. But I am number one in the home league. I don't know if there's a correlation there where I'm not giving away too many secrets to you guys. I don't know. I think there's a lot of luck that's been involved with that. So, I'm happy to be back talking with you guys. There has been a lot of luck. Kevin's laughing because I've gotten so lucky on the schedule.
You can only play what's in front of you, but there's difference. There's a big difference, especially in our home league, right? With all the scoring, when you have like first through fourth points against, or the 10th, 11th, 12th points against, there's a disparaging
it's huge.
Between those. And you were on you have the lower half. You have the lower half. You're taking advantage of it. So it is what it is. I got you this week, so we're going to see how it shakes out. You got me early in the season, right? So I got to redeem myself here a little bit and see if I can make us break 500 here for the year.
Well, and I think it's going to be a tough week for me with Dolphins and Broncos on a bye. There's two of my running backs sitting out with Bonnie and RJ Harvey, who I thought would have a better game last week, but kind of a meh from him, kind of a meh from Jaleel McLaughlin. We kind of all thought like, oh, they'll just do the same of what J.K. Dobbins was doing, and then they didn't. It was kind of a weird one. I will add on to your chest pounding there, Kevin. Not football related, but the Colorado Avalanche are going to break my heart this year. Like, it is going to happen if we don't win the Cup this year. Like, it is.
They look good.
The middle of November, and I'm already like, yeah, this team is like, if we don't win the Cup, it's going to destroy me this year. So,
Marty Netchis looks like a completely different.
Worth every penny
for us last year, but now he is absolutely working, and the extension was superb.
Yes, getting Landeskog back has been invaluable in terms of, I think, the identity of the team, and it's woken up Nate McKinnon, which was not something that needed to happen, but it has happened. Anyways, join me for the hockey podcast whenever we start that one. We'll talk about it then.
Well, so, I'm right there with you, dude. I've been able to see quite a few Avs games, so I'm loving it.
Full on, man. It's the best. They're so good. It's so much fun right now.
So interesting enough, right? Like, I went back through and right to that point, talking about some of the schedule, right? I'm kind of going back to that one there. Alex, I did kind of your average points against on a weekly basis and my average points against on a weekly basis. There's over 50 points a week difference in your average opponent's score on a weekly basis in mine. It is a very real difference when some of that plays out there.
Now, in fairness, because I lobbied hard in the offseason for the win against the median in this league, and it passed, and I've benefited from it, right? I mean, trust me, I've benefited from it because I have played a bunch of lower scoring teams, but I'm also in the top, 4 or 5 in terms of points for. So, like, yes, I have been able to take advantage of the fact that people aren't scoring against me, but I'm also putting up points. It's not like I'm scooting by every week, although I did scoot by this week. This was a tough one that didn't need to be as tough as it was, but I won by 8 points. Thank you, Javonte Williams. Not even 8 points, 7 points or so, 6 points. Thanks to Javonte Williams pulling it out there on Monday night. Was not comfortable all of Monday night, and I didn't even watch the game. I couldn't bring myself to watch that game. I was hanging out with the boy, but it was watching that one every so often. I check the score, and I was like, I saw Dallas went up big, and I was like, maybe they'll just run the ball for the rest of the second half. Like,
How happy are the people who picked up George Pickens this year, though?
yeah,
Like
like
it
you
is
didn't think it would be
working
that
how
way,
you
right?
wanted it to work, though, right? Like
Yeah.
you wanted him. Okay, obviously you didn't want CD to get dinged up. So, but that I think helped long term or longer term if the Cowboys keep Pickens because it forced the chemistry with Pickens and Dak a little bit, right? And so now CD's back in the fold. And I know a lot of people, and maybe even us to some extent, kind of rolled our eyes when CD Lamb brought up, we don't think about it as 1 and 2. We think about it as 1A and 1B. Like we're just 2 1s. And everybody kind of went, yeah, hee hee, ha ha, whatever. Tell you what, George Pickens has owned up to his end of the deal. Now, I still think he's an emotional basket case at times. Like he just is. But with how things are going right now, if the Cowboys can find a lick of defense, like this team at least has the ability to compete, right? They can compete with anybody offensively. But where they struggle, right, is they just hemorrhage points. They just hemorrhage points. Like the Raiders are not a good team. But for the most part, they kept them largely in check. But this next weekend against Philadelphia, I do not expect it to be a very low scoring affair from Philly. Like I think they're going to find themselves here a little bit in this game.
I'm looking up that total is 48.5, and it feels like one of the teams is going to hit 48.5. Like,
yeah, I'd take the over on that
easily.
I'll take the over on that. I think Philly's defense is good, and they're kind of hitting their stride here a little bit. But these Dallas Philly games are fun, especially when one
in
team
Dallas,
really
so you don't have to worry about
it.
the weather.
Yeah, so I'd take the over. Like I think it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 32-28 or something like that. Like I think you could easily see close to 60.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. More on that come Friday.
It's not the highest total of the weekend, which is shocking.
Right. So no, it should be a good one, and should be very interesting to see how that one comes to play and comes to pass, and be interesting to see how things kind of shake up here. But one of the interesting things that I thought was from that Monday night game as well was the fact that Dallas started with their 1A and 1B not on the field on the first offensive snap, right, for a coach's decision, and very interesting to see kind of some of that stuff play out.
Yeah, it sounds like they were late or missed a meeting. And I've heard verbiage change depending on what you're looking at, but it had something to do with a team meeting. And the two of them were not prompt enough. And so sit them for the first series. I don't know if that had anything to do with, kind of lighting a fire under them, but, they came away with a win. It worked out. Dak had a really efficient game. CeeDee Lamb was good, almost had a second touchdown there at the end, right? They just missed him on an out route there on like the 2-yard line. Dak just overthrew it. He was a little wide, but other than that, I mean, George Pickens had an amazing game, just slants, right? Like it's just hit him on the run, and he had the Raiders on skates the entire game. It was I don't know, personal highlight reel for George Pickens last night. That's for sure.
I don't want to jump ahead to anything here, but since we are talking about receivers missing, they upheld Jamar Chase's suspension today. So
that wasn't really that surprising.
No, not at all. But I mean, you are in a bind now, right? Like, and I have to start Joe Flacco this week. Like I don't have a choice. My other 2 quarterbacks, one's on a bye and one doesn't know what his name is right now. So I have to start Joe Flacco. And like to not have Jamar Chase, that's going to be tough.
So I should have sent the reel to the groups. That way we could have gone back and looked at it. But they were comparing, they did a blind quarterback test of the last 4 games, healthy games, each quarterback had done. And it turned out it was Joe Burrow and Joe Flacco. Flacco's numbers were better.
I mean, he had that monster game. He had that like 500-yard game or close to it, right? Like,
yeah, like it was more yards per games, more touchdowns, only one more interception. Like
Flacco
had
how to
extra rushing yards, but that was it,
right? Like,
yeah.
And he's how to feed a receiver.
He's an old man, don't care. Like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do to Joe Flacco that hadn't been done already? Cut him? Oh, okay. Like, you guys are going to lose anyway. Like, win? Okay.
He's kind of on that Aaron Rodgers FU tour. Remember, like, the last couple of years that Rodgers was in Green Bay? And he was just, like, balling out because he just didn't care what was going to happen. He's like, yeah, okay.
Messed around and won an MVP out of it.
Yeah. Like, you guys want to let me go? Fine. Watch me do this. Like, you're going to regret this. And, like, Flacco got traded for Dylan Gabriel and Shadur Sanders, right? Which we got to see the Shadur Sanders experiment this weekend. It's been a rough couple of weeks for quarterbacks, which we could also talk about because there's going to be some decisions that are going to have to be made here coming up about what you're going to do at quarterback because we'll get to that later. But like Joe Flacco is on a mission of like, I'm still viable in this league. And he has been. And like, he probably should still be on Cleveland. But I think the owner probably got in the way there, just like the owner got in the way on draft night. And they shipped him out. They shipped him out of town. And remember, I wasn't around to talk about it when it happened, but like Mike Tomlin was furious that they traded within the division and put Joe Flacco on a team that has Jamar Chase. And Mike Tomlin was like, what are we doing? Why are we trading Joe Flacco, who's a capable quarterback in this league, to then go have him throw to Jamar Chase for 500 yards and T. Higgins for that matter, right? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think his quote was something to the extent of they must know something in Cleveland that the rest of us don't. When you take your guy that you deem to be your camp starter and start week 1 and trade him away a couple of weeks into the season to a division rival.
Stefanski can't keep his job after this year, can he?
I don't know how he's kept it thus far.
I agreed, but
Cleveland changes quarterbacks. They don't change head coaches, though.
Right.
For whatever you are true. I mean, you are true on that.
But I mean, yeah, there's going to be some hot seats. Definitely some hot seats, right? And we've already seen a couple fall. We'll see some more. Like, it'll be interesting. But yeah, the injuries started getting real this week again, right? Like there was there's like a 10-minute blurb, and I should have taken a screenshot on my phone. I need to be better about this stuff. but it was this player's going to the medical tent. Now this player's going to the, and it was like a bunch of quarterbacks and then Josh Jacobs. I was like, what the, like, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Oh, this and it was never listed for what. It was just, medical tent. Oh, medical tent. Oh, medical tent. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Are these guys like doing backflips and landing on their head? Like, this is insane. And sure enough, now we're back at it. Kirk Cousins getting another shot. Hopefully he performs better than he did a couple weeks ago.
Can he perform worse is really the question.
Like saying, don't doubt him at this point. Like, you almost wonder if he's like scorned lover. Going, screw you guys.
Right.
Like, you got to pay me and you're stuck with me no matter what. So I'm just going to go out and throw left-handed. Like,
stink it up.
It was just, it's nuts. So, and the funniest thing this season, all the injuries and everything else, the two people who I think a lot of us would have put money on getting injured at the beginning of the season would be Christian McCaffrey and Matthew Stafford.
Right.
Who started the season injured, by the way. Like, he was injured to start
with the back.
Season.
Yeah. I faded the crap out of him because he had this back injury at the very middle end of camp time frame. I'm like, oh, nope.
Yeah.
Like, completely faded Puka because of it. Like, I was really worried. And Stafford's doing nothing but playing some of his best football of his entire career right now. Like,
he's on my roster in the home league, and I'll tell you what, at this point, I'm having a hard time talking myself out of making him a keeper for next year. Like, I am having a hard time talking myself out because of where I've got him. Like, I'm not entirely.
Oh, it's a number 2 option, right? Like, you have your number 2 option set, and then you can just go find your big dog and go. Like, it's been crazy.
I've got him in a mid to late round in a 2 QB league.
Yeah, but we did get Brock Purdy back last week, right?
Oh.
Like, and he had himself a pretty decent game, right? Going up against the lowly Cardinals is a great place to start your first game back. Ricky Parasol, on the other hand, did not have a good first game back. That was painful.
Jacoby Brissett had a great game.
Yeah, Brissett had a great game. Keon Coleman just got flat out benched.
Yeah.
So, now we're here again. So now we're on Tuesday, so we don't have fresh updates, right? We know Josh Jacobs left with a knee contusion. Okay, like, whatever that looked like. So we don't know if he's available. We don't know if Bucky Irving's coming back. We haven't had any update on Brock Purdy and the turf toe, and if he made it through that first game or if it got re-aggravated. We don't know if Brian Thomas Jr. is coming back yet. Who else? Drake London looks like he's going to be out.
Aaron Rodgers is going to try and fight through it. It sounds like, but you never know. Like, the team doctors obviously have to clear it. But best thing for Rodgers is it's his non-throwing hand, and not that he doesn't get hit, but Aaron Rodgers loves to get the ball out quick. Right? This is what he's built his career on. Is that snap to throw time historically for Aaron Rodgers is beyond elite. And when he has to do that, he absolutely can. So that'll be interesting. Jaylen Warren is possibly going to miss this week, getting dinged up. So fire up Kenneth Gainwell. Are we going to see Jameis Winston again? The Jameis Winston experience?
One can hope.
Hopes. It's good. He's getting thrown into some. Yeah, like, he's just entertaining. Like, he's a guy that you want to root for. So
what a line.
Yeah. So I mean, we're not going to be without things to dodge here in Week 12, right? As you said, we have the Commanders, the Dolphins, the Broncos on a bye.
There's another one on bye too.
I'm trying to think who it is.
Oh, hold on, I'll tell you.
So.
Must not be a consequence.
The Chargers. It is of consequence.
Oh, the Chargers. It is a consequence.
Turbo.
Well, and he had a trash game too, right?
Yeah, he was not good.
So we'll bob and weave this week. It's kind of a rough 4-team patch for some for some folks, right? I mean, you're playing Waddle's been really good since Tyreek went down. Obviously, Achan. You know, then you have Chargers. You know, Keenan Allen, McConkey, Johnston, Herbert. You could argue Debo. Like, still not a Debo fan. Like, he still finds it, but it's lack of options is why Debo's getting what he's getting. He does not look good out there.
I have him in my high school league, and like he's in my flex, but like, man, every week I'm just like, am I gonna get what I need out of Debo Samuel this week? And like it's tough, and I don't have great options.
10 to 14 points, 10 to 14 points, 10 to 14, and it's sure shit he's getting there though.
Yeah, he is.
Like, it's ugly. It's ugly.
Every time you start that, you have him in that flex spot, and I'm like, just give me what you need to give me, guy.
Right. So, well, shall we start getting into some of the chat and some of the questions here, and any other news notes we want to hit up before we do that?
No, I think those are the big ones, at least for now. I'm sure there'll be some other things, but for now, that's it.
All righty, let's go ahead and hit it up. Jason over on YouTube saying, "What's up, my guys? Got a few questions for 3 weeks, for 3 leagues. Thanks in advance. Start one this week: Purdy, Brissett, or Trevor Lawrence. Got Bo Nix on a bye. Who is better rest of the season, Bo Nix or Purdy?"
Well, I'd take Nick's rest of season because I'm confident he's going to play. I don't know about Brock Purdy. Like, you don't know. And look, they've got capable backup there. Like, it's not like there's a huge drop off when Brock Purdy's not playing. This week, hard to go against Purdy against the Panthers. But like, Brissett has been on some kind of tear at the moment, so and they're playing, Brissett and Trevor Lawrence are playing in the same game, so I think if I had to pick today, I think I'd go Jacoby Brissett because I don't know if Purdy's going to play.
I'm going to lean Brock Purdy. Going against Carolina. Give me the matchup. I'm going to take them. I know the Niners are flying across the country, but typically the 49ers don't seem to struggle with this west to east coast thing like some teams do. So,
right.
Give me
that game's at home. That game's at San Francisco.
Oh, it is in San Francisco. You're correct. Yeah,
even better.
Even better.
So yeah, give me Purdy. Like, I'm fine with that. Let him run. Juwan Jennings. Okay, fine. Maybe Parasol kind of gets back, and you have Christian McCaffrey, right? Like, ultimately, you have the best player in that group of players in Christian McCaffrey. So even if you're checking down to him or whatever, like Kittle's there, those guys are all healthy here at the moment. So I'm gonna ride the Niners here because they got to get on a run, right? It's gonna be tough for them to catch the Seahawks and the Rams. But they got to get on a run here to start really jockeying for wild card positioning. So give me the Niners.
Yeah, it's Purdy for me this week. Rest of the season, I'd probably lean the Brock Purdy side. It is very, very close between him and Bo Nix. Reason being, though, is the Niners' schedule coming down the stretch. I like that one a lot better than what I like out of Denver's schedule coming down the stretch. Not only that, right? Like, Bo Nix just 3 quarters of ho-hum, not very good football, and then you're banking on trying to have 2 drives put together an entire fantasy week for you. So I lean Brock Purdy, but it has everything to do with the schedule for me.
Right. I'm not opposed to that. I think I'm going to lean Nix over Purdy because they lost J.K. Dobbins. It's going to force him to be a better quarterback. J.K. Dobbins, for his age or whatever, say what you will, was really hiding some issues, right? Running at 5 yards a clip. He was having a really good season. He wasn't getting the touchdowns. So fantasy wise, we felt like we were missing out on it. And maybe you felt like he wasn't doing what you needed him to. But if you're watching the game, the Broncos ran the ball really well with Dobbins, and he was doing a really good job picking those extra 1 or 2 yards and just being the right guy at the right time. I don't know that they have that guy, right? I don't know that Harvey's truly that guy. I think he's a little bit more Alvin Kamara than not, as far as using him out of the backfield on the swing routes and the screen passes and everything else. And I think we're going to continue to see that. But anytime you're passing to Harvey, Nix is getting those points, right? And so now the Broncos' biggest thing is, can Franklin catch all the footballs that are coming his way?
Simple
right?
answer,
When he's not,
no.
well, maybe so. Caught the big one against the Chiefs.
That's true. He did.
So, it's just kind of one of those things. Does that catapult a little bit extra focus, because that connection's there from their time together at Oregon, on top of the fact that I don't think they're going to be, the Broncos, that is, going to be nearly as efficient on the ground with Jaleel or RJ as they were with JK. So it's going to be more on Bo Nix, and he's going to use his legs more, right? Because he's not fighting a turf toe thing. So he'll be able to scramble and move a little bit more. And I think down the stretch you could see Bo Nix using his legs even more so than what we've seen through the first 11 weeks of the season, because he's going to be asked to pass a bit more. You'll see some more bootleg concepts, that type of thing, getting him out into space. And the dude, just take your 5 yards and get out of bounds.
Yeah.
Right? We don't need you to do everything. Take the positive play.
Fair enough. Any other thoughts on this one?
No.
All right. Jason saying that my bench is Vidal. I don't want to drop till Hampton. Magungai has a role. White till Bucky, and Pollard, who sucks. Should I drop White and or Pollard for Emmanuel Wilson, Gainwell, Tootin, or Knight? They call that leading, a leading question there. But I like it. What are your thoughts around this one?
You can absolutely drop Tony Pollard for Wilson or Gainwell.
I was going to say Gainwell had a nice week.
Yeah, Tootin's dinged up himself. So I don't know that you want to drop a guy who's not performing well for a guy who's injured, and he's already the number 2. So I think you could take – I think I'd go Gainwell first and then Emmanuel Wilson, because it just seems like the Josh Jacobs injury wasn't as serious, and we know that Kenneth Gainwell more often than not has a role regardless for the Steelers. So I'd go Kenneth Gainwell first, then Emmanuel Wilson, and I'd kind of leave it there, right? This Tootin thing just hasn't come to fruition. Bam Knight, some weeks he's relevant and other weeks he's not.
And hopefully Trey Benson's right around the corner.
Right. And if you really wanted to take a gamble on it, you could drop Pollard and White and go after both of them. Right. Like, it really does kind of seem like the Rachaad White deal has kind of run its course. Part of that was game script. Buffalo was terrible against the run. And the Bucks did play into that a little bit. However, it's only a week or two, I would assume, away from Bucky being back, and I don't see Rachaad White going for some ridiculous amount that you're going to be staring at on your bench or in your roster and going, man, I'm glad I kept him. Like, I think you could play with Wilson or Gainwell here.
Yeah,
especially given the Rodgers injury with Gainwell. Like, it just feels like that's going to be more. He's going to be more involved.
I could see that. Alrighty. Start to this week between Wandale, Shakir, and Sticky Ricky. Might have Purdy if I win in waivers.
I'm going with Wandale and Shakir right now. Parasol having a goose egg. I get it, a week to kind of get back up in there, but everybody was getting some against the Cardinals last week, except Ricky Parasol, which is a big bummer. But now you're in prove-it mode. Like, we know Wandell's the focal point of the passing game for New York. Khalil Shakir only plays about 50% of the snaps. That's kind of the same as the rest of the wide receivers in Buffalo, but Josh Allen does just kind of search him out. So I think Wandell and Shakir are the two guys this week. Ricky Pearsall might have the biggest upside because he's the downfield guy for the 49ers, but we need him to be healthy, and we need Purdy or Mac Jones, whoever, to actually hit him in said downfield routes. So take the sure thing.
All right. Any other thoughts on this one?
No.
All right. Jason, the number one kicker Dicker is on bye. Is it worth holding on to him instead of a drop? If I don't drop Dicker, I'll have to drop Pollard for a kicker and risk not getting Wilson, Gainwell, Tootin, or Knight.
Can you just eat the 0? Like, how much does a kicker actually get you?
I'm interested to see what kickers are out there.
Right.
Yeah. Whoever it is, pick somebody that's playing indoors.
So, but I mean, there's something to that, right? Like, yeah, Cameron Dicker has been averaging about 10 points a week for you on that one there. So, yeah, if you're, there is some, something to what Alex is talking about there, that sometimes if you, you don't necessarily have to make those types of moves if you're able to kind of, feel very confident and comfortable about your game going away there. But if not, I mean, it does kind of come down to that point Kevin was talking about, that if there are other kickers out there that are very relevant, right? Like, if Chase McLaughlin is out there, wouldn't have a problem kind of going through, right? It just depends on who else is out there and who else you could go through. But for the most part, even if you're dropping down tiers and kickers, you're talking about sacrificing 10 points a game for 8 points a game, not 7 points a game, right? Like, it's not that big of a drop off typically when you're talking kickers. So, any other thoughts on this one?
Was it the home league where we were punishing? I can't remember. I played in a league where we punished people if you didn't start a kicker. Or was that the head coach position? I don't know. We did away with both of those.
We talked about it. Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, if you can eat the 0, like, and not have to miss out on Gainwell or Wilson, I would do that.
All right. Jason, since it's a handcuff season, which 3 are the best? Corum, B-Rob, Tootin, Stevenson, Emmanuel Wilson, Pacheco, Knight. Also have DJ Moore on my bench. Is he droppable to get for those guys? Well, it depends. Who do you have as, right? If you've got Kyron
I don't know
Williams,
who your handcuff is. Yeah.
Right. Like, that's where it comes down to, right? If it all depends on who your running back one is, right? If you have Kyron Williams, then yes, Corum's going to be the best handcuff. If you have CMC, then B-Rob is going to be your best handcuff there. ETN, Tootin, like, it just depends on who that is.
I don't think Stevenson is your guy. I think they've got what they like with Travion Henderson, and I don't know that Stevenson's going to see the field ever again.
The question is
handcuffing.
Yeah, the question too is also handcuffing, which would then lead into the thought that Travion goes down and Stevenson takes that role. Like, that's the premise of the question.
And if we're picking 3, I'd tell you it's Corum, Brian Robinson, and Emmanuel Wilson. Just based off of how those offenses are set up through the running backs.
Right.
It's definitely not Pacheco or Bam Knight.
No.
Like, it's absolutely not those two. Tootin's interesting, but again, he's kind of dinged up himself. So again, it's looking at volume that goes through the running back currently and what all they free up if that player were to go down. Ton of share, snap share goes to Kyron, ton goes to Christian McCaffrey, right? And a boatload goes to Josh Jacobs as well. Like, so those are the clear 3, at least in my opinion. Stevenson, even if he comes back, like, I think when he comes back, they're going to just still see a role. Like, I think it might be instead of Stevenson seeing 60%, he might see 40%, but he's still going to be a pain. Like, they're not just going to completely turn it over to Henderson. That's just not how the Patriots are going to run that offense. So top three: Corum, B-Rob, Wilson for me.
If Vrabel was he there?
Vrabel liked Derrick Henry. None of these guys are Derrick Henry. None.
Right. Not even a little bit.
Derrick Henry is a beast. And remember, Mike Vrabel, was he there that first year with Henry? Where
I think he was.
For the second year with Henry, whatever it was, like, well, it was before when Henry's playing backup to Derek, who's your boy out of Oklahoma that played for Tennessee?
Johnson? Is that Chris Johnson?
No, aren't you talking about D'Amico Ryan or D'Amico?
Yes.
It's not D'Amico Ryan.
DeMarco
Murray. Yes.
Murray. DeMarco Murray.
DeMarco. Yes, that's.
Was Vrabel with them? That might have been just before his time. He might have still been. Honestly, he might. That might have been his last year with New England playing.
He was the head coach at Tennessee in 2018.
So, even so, whatever that looks like, the New England Patriots are not set up to run a sole back. Like, they want multiple running backs in there.
And DeMarco Ryan was last year in Tennessee was 2017. So no, those two did not cross paths together. But plus, you also have to remember that the offensive coordinator for Tennessee, for the most part of Vrabel being there, was Arthur Smith, who loves to just run the ball.
Yeah.
So anyway, any other thoughts on this one?
No, sir.
Should I drop Dak or Jones or drop one of the handcuff of Corum, B-Rob, or Algier? Need to pick up a wide receiver this week. I usually use Jones weekly as my QB. This is the part of the season you need to start being very concerned with playing keep away. And if you're dropping one of those QBs, you're
somebody
now
else going to snatch them up.
Yeah, and at that point, do you really have to want to be facing down the barrel of that one from guys that have been putting up top-end QB1 performances week in, week out? I would argue that you don't. So I would drop a handcuff to pick up a wide receiver. Good chance that handcuff will still be sitting out there the next week when waivers run, and you can just re-pick them back up.
And I wouldn't be surprised, just because the team is on a bye this week, that you could probably get away with. Just kidding. Corum plays for the other LA team. I think you could probably still get away with dropping Corum and you'd be okay.
I would agree. Any other thoughts on that one, Kev?
If you're going to drop one, you're going to drop Dak. Philly, Kansas City, Detroit, Minnesota, and the Chargers are his next games. All defensively sound in the passing game.
Right.
So
what you know he's going to get.
If you're going to drop one, you're going to drop Dak. But yes. Exactly. Like, he has to throw the ball, right? The Cowboys have to score.
They have no choice.
30 plus points. They have no choice because the defense is going to allow that. So
the defense is a sieve.
The issue with Daniel Jones is the blessing and the curse, right? He's been hyper efficient, but if it's a Jonathan Taylor game, Daniel Jones ain't doing much. We saw that the week before their bye week, right?
No.
Jonathan Taylor, 200 whatever all-purpose yards, 3 touchdowns, and Daniel Jones didn't do squat.
Right.
So I think I would keep both quarterbacks, but if you're dead set on dropping one, I understand why you would want to drop Dak. But Kansas City, Houston, Jacksonville, Seattle, San Francisco, Jacksonville. So slightly better for the Colts. Not a whole lot better, but slightly better.
Right. So, yeah, I'd be dropping one of those running backs and picking up a wide receiver and moving on that way. Any other thoughts on this one? All right, Jason saying start 2 this week. Godwin, Mooney has a broken collarbone. No, Mooney broke a collarbone in training camp, has since healed and has been back. Shepard, Eovasis, Io Manor, Coker, Leggett, Tiltman, Judy, or any Jets wide receiver with Taylor starting. Yes, I knew they're all gross. I just want 10 points. So which one of these?
80 Mitchell.
There's another name out there for you.
80 Mitchell. If that's what you're going for is 10 points. Darnell Mooney's interesting. So maybe Darnell Mooney's number 1. 80 Mitchell, number 2. I think he's going to lead the Jets in targets this week.
Yeah. I don't want any part of the Browns passing game this week.
No.
And I don't want any part of the Titans.
No, not at all. At this point, I don't know that I'm going to put much faith in Chris Godwin actually, kind of playing at this point, right? Like this is one of those that just haven't seen it, and I don't know that we necessarily will. So he's going to go ahead.
I see this is an interesting play for this week. Because of the Jamar Chase suspension, right? Like it's going to be T. Higgins and Iosivas. So like I can understand the intrigue there, but it is literally a 1-week deal because Jamar Chase comes back, Iosivas becomes irrelevant again. So I think I would include him for this week. This week only. This week only.
I'd lump Iosivas in the same category as Io Manor, Tillman. I think Coker even. Like I think you're lucky to get to 6 points on that.
I don't know, man. With Higgins out, Flacco's going to be throwing the football. They're playing. Who do they have this week? I just looked it up and now I've already forgotten. They got the Patriots.
Have been pretty good.
I don't know. I think T. Higgins, like they key on T. Higgins, make sure that Higgins doesn't beat you. So that leaves the other side open.
I think Noah Fant.
I think when it's all said and done, I think Iosivas is top amongst the rest of them.
I think Noah Fant puts up more points than Iosivas in the same game. Like that's where I'm at. I really do think that Noah Fant will outpoint Iosivas in this week 12. I'd put him right there again with Tillman, Io Manor, like same ranking, all the way down there. Wide receiver 4 is the ceiling, I think, for any one of those guys. So I don't mind the Mooney side of things. Kevin brings up the interesting deal with the 80 Mitchell. I don't necessarily mind the Shepard side of things. Baker certainly looks towards him, but it is not necessarily pretty on that one. So I'm going to roll with personally, I'd go with the Mooney side of it as where my thought would be to get to 10 points, even with Kirk Cousins rolling out there playing QB. Any other thoughts on this one?
Another interesting name, right? If you don't love Darnell Mooney, Kadero Hodge for the Falcons, right? Like you could see him be that guy because after Drake London went out, granted it was late in the game, but Hodge was running the Drake London routes. So another kind of random name, but you got 2 at the Falcons if that's where you kind of want to sit, or like I said earlier, 80 Mitchell. Jason, you admitted it's gross, so if we're going to agree that it's not a lovely list. But
I can see why you need to pick up a wide receiver.
Yeah, exactly. So best of luck to you because we're kind of split decision on this as well.
Right. Another name out there, and who knows, he's available out there in some leagues. But I would take a look and see if Tez Johnson is available. If he is, that'd be a guy that I'd be looking at as well. So not may not be readily available like some of those other names.
Go get you a Greg Dortch. Here's my Greg Dortch call for the year. Go get Greg Dortch.
Luther Burden, possibly.
Yeah.
Dude, he has been a freaking nightmare in the home league for me. But you're right. Caleb Williams has looked pretty darn good. And maybe they figure out, maybe Caleb Williams has remembered that Luther Burden's on the team.
Alex, I actually don't mind the Greg Dortch call.
It's my Greg Dortch. Back a while ago, this show, we used to do a Shine and Pine segment that has since gone away. But the hero Greg Dortch call that came to fruition, I don't remember when that was, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Something like that.
It was a hero Greg Dortch call, and it worked out. It was a dumb call when I made it, and it worked out.
There we go. Super Squash over on YouTube saying, should I start Christian Watson, Mooney, Butte, or Pacheco? Pacheco's an immediate no for me.
I like Christian Watson, man. If he stays healthy, like he's been useful. I mean, he was getting looks last week in the limited amount of that game that I was watching. Maybe it wasn't last week.
I'd go Mooney first, then
time runs together.
Watson and Booty are kind of right there. Pacheco's absolutely not. Like, it's one of the three wide receivers. I would go Mooney first, and then an argument could be made for Keyshawn Butte, right? Like, it's a pretty simple matchup against Cincinnati. So you could go Butte against Cincinnati and feel pretty good about that. So Mooney 1, Butte 2, and then Christian Watson.
Okay. I would label it Mooney, Watson, then Butte for me. And I've got Christian Watson and Mooney pretty close to one another. It's all going to come down to touchdowns, right? If Christian Watson gets in the end zone, you're going to be happy. If not, he's just not going to see the volume to get there. But that's how I'd run that one out. Mooney, Watson, then Butte, coin flip, a little bit, not necessarily coin flip, with Mooney just slightly ahead of Christian Watson. Alex, any thoughts on this one?
No.
Okay. All right, the Frogs over on YouTube. Running backs: Kyron, Henderson, Rico, Swift, Harvey, Woody. Wide receivers: Lamb and Buka, Tet, Jamo. Got an offer of Rice for Kyron. Would you take it? I would not. I wouldn't, just from the standpoint, right? I'm moving off of an RB1. Yes, I'm getting a guy that is his team's wide receiver 1, but we haven't necessarily seen that those crazy pop games from Racing Rice. He's certainly getting the volume, but it's just not necessarily there, right? Kyron, you can anchor that as your RB1, and then you've still got flexibility there. And with Lamb and Mbuka, you've got two wide receiver 1s on your roster anyway. So unless this is a start with 3 wide receiver, I'd feel better with my flexibility and my roster makeup if I stick with Kyron and roll my roster as is.
Yeah, I think if you really want Rice, you're trying to, like, if that's where you start right now, so the ceiling's been established, I think I'd counter with a Swift or Harvey and Jamo. Right? And maybe start with Harvey, so you can get Harvey and Jamo for Rice, and just see, hey, I'm interested. Like, what do you does this do it for you? And kind of see if you can do that 2 for 1, because then I think it pairs in nicely, because then you're running Lamb and Buka and Rice, and then you can run, Kyron, Henderson, and Rico, and just kind of pivot that around. But you got the running backs to kind of move, but I wouldn't give up Kyron. You're going to want that top end ability once you get into the playoffs for that position group. And Rice, more often than not, is not going to be that top end in your wide receiver room. That's what Lamb and Mbuka have shown that they can do. Rice is a very solid number 2, as you have kind of a 1 and 2 Lamb and Mbuka. So maybe Rice is 2B behind Mbuka, but I wouldn't do this deal as presented currently.
Yeah, I would agree with that because you're obviously you're going to start your wide receivers of Lamb and Ibuka. Like that's set it and forget it in my opinion. So like really you're trying to decide, is Rice better than JMO? Some weeks, yes, and probably the rest of the season, yes. But you're bailing on having 2 really good RB1s to just not have to worry about with Kyron and Henderson right now. And Swift is a nice piece in there too. Like really, Dowdle. Like I wouldn't move off Kyron though. I wouldn't. I like Kevin's idea of like try with Harvey because like I think Harvey's an intriguing player right now because he is supposedly the guy, even though it wasn't the greatest week against Kansas City, but Kansas City's got a good, rush defense and
Yeah, great run defense, right? That's your
so
pitch.
that was tough, yeah. So like I think Harvey's gonna be the guy. I think the rest of the way, like with some sprinkling in of Jaleel McLaughlin here, but like I think, but that's an easy one to move off of because he's not going to be, even if he is the guy in Denver, he's not going to be as productive as Kyron or Henderson.
Or Rico.
Yeah. So like that's the one that you can get off. But like I do think people who are desperate for a running back, which it sounds like this person is, if they're willing to deal Rashee Rice to you, I mean obviously they want Kyron, but like Harvey's a good starting point because it's a very interesting play. Like I've got RJ Harvey in the home league and I was trying to figure out what I can do with him. Turns out I need him now, but like I felt like I had some leverage with Harvey, given the J.K. Dobbins news. Sure, the game against the Chiefs didn't help, but the Chiefs are good against the run. So,
all righty. Any other thoughts on this one?
No.
And
before we get to good luck. Before we get to the next one, I do have to bid you all adieu. I went 14 minutes longer than I said I was going to be. So it was good to see you guys. I miss doing this every week. Eventually, one day soon, I will be back every week. It's a game time decision every night just to see. Fortunately, Kiddo was down. He was good. So we were able to swing it this week. But you never know. Besides, we're into the point where nobody cares what I have to say about all of these players anyway. So listen to these 2. They got you their way. Join them on Friday. Otherwise, see you guys.
Have a good one. All right. Chirihi says hi over on YouTube. Michael over on YouTube would love to hear your thoughts. I'm 9-2. Moved Hendo, Brian Thomas Jr., Olave for Chase and Swift. My team: Josh Allen, Barkley, Hall, Etienne, Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Chase, Tyler Warren for the playoffs.
I don't like that for the playoffs.
Right?
I like that for the playoffs, right? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Kind of a mixed bag a little bit in the running back room, just because none of them, like they're all kind of bunched together a little bit right now, but you'd assume that as the Eagles get closer, they'll find a way to get Barkley right here going forward. So I think there's nothing wrong with that. Chase and Swift. Okay, yeah, I like this. I love your wide receiver room. St. Brown and Chase. You have Tyler Warren there coming off. He'll get past his bye week. Chase will get past his suspension, and then you're going to be kind of full steam ahead here for the rest of the season. So I like it. I think it's gonna be a really daunting lineup to try and overcome in the playoffs.
Right, and that's the thing that I like about that is you've got the ceiling play week in, week out with very safe floors on that one as well. And it's going to be a hard out for the playoffs. So absolutely love it. Lip over on YouTube. Would you trade Dobbs for Mark's full PPR league?
you need the running back help, right? Like without seeing your roster and everything else, if you need help in that running back position, I understand why you would want to do that, and I think it's a pretty fair trade. The volume for Dobbs is sporadic at best, with some touchdown upside. Marks, the volume's probably a little bit more consistent, but he doesn't get as many cracks at the end zone because that Houston offensive line is just dreadful. So I see the purpose behind it in certain aspects. So if you're needing a running back, I think that's a good flip.
I would agree. Lip saying, second question, with the number one waiver claim, would you pick up either Emmanuel Wilson or Michael Wilson or neither?
I think there's worlds where either one of those guys deserves it.
Right.
Assuming that your waivers go through tonight into tomorrow, I think I'd be looking at Emmanuel Wilson, just because if Josh Jacobs can't go, Emmanuel Wilson's going to have a massive workload. Michael Wilson, on the flip side, had a really good week last week, but I don't know. It almost feels like we're going to be chasing points with Michael Wilson now, right? Like if you didn't grab him and play him last week, now it's we all played kind of the wait and see game for those who didn't have any interest, and now it's like, ooh, we kind of like what we saw, and now we're going to chase after it slightly. Again, it depends on where you need the most support. Like if you need more help at running back, it's Emmanuel Wilson. If you need some more depth at wide receiver, it's Michael Wilson. So your roster should determine which one of those two guys you prioritize.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Right. And it is a little tough being this point in the week, right? Like not sure exactly what the injury report's going to look like on Josh Jacobs and whether he's going to really be a go or not this week. Right. Same thing too. The Michael Wilson came heavily because of Marvin Harrison Jr. being out on that one. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that one comes to play, right? Like, is Marvin Harrison Jr. going to be able to be back for week 12? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think he will be either. Which Brissett has had to kind of just huck the ball all over the yard to try and keep them in games. So if you need wide receiver help, Michael Wilson's an interesting deal. If you need some running back help, Emmanuel Wilson is an interesting deal. And to Kevin's point, just kind of depends on which way you want to go. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, I'm pretty sure you and I are aligned here.
Sounds good. Frosty saying, yo, I hate asking this, but start one between Mooney, Downs, and Iosivas. Mooney. Agreed, right? And it's not close in this particular one. Downs would be the kind of the second guy that I'd look at. I get that everybody's thinking that Iosivas will step up and play that kind of role. I don't see it. I really don't. I think that this will be T. Higgins, and then we'll see a healthy dose of the tight ends out of this one, right? I think Iosivas will, yes, certainly get some work and some of that, but I just don't see it being enough of a workload to come to play. Any other thoughts on this one? Yeah. Frosty asking, is Brian Thomas Jr. the worst second round pick in recent memory?
No. I think he's in the discussion, but I don't think he's the worst. So, gotta remember, Chase Brown was taken in the second round this year. We had the Jalen Waddle, right? When Jalen Waddle was going in the second before Tyreek, or even right after Tyreek got there with the Dolphins, and Waddle's volume or output really just kind of went through the dumpster fire. We've had T. Higgins go in the second round, who's fallen well short of expectations. Like,
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown this year, right? Which you could argue has been worse than Brian Thomas in a lot of ways. Like it's frustrating. Don't get me wrong. It is absolutely frustrating. But things like this happen every year. They really do. Like there is not a perfect, first, second, third round draft board, drafts guide, strategy, whatever. Like we have plans and we put these plans together, but that doesn't mean that it's all going to come to fruition, right? I mean, most years, 6 out of 12 first round picks hit, the other 6 don't. Maybe 5 out of 12 in the second round hits, and then others don't. I mean, and it kind of boggles through, but we're living the Brian Thomas Jr. thing right now, so it carries a little bit more weight. But there's been plenty of instances in first and second round players where it was just whether it was a bad pick or they just didn't come to fruition. We're gonna date this a little bit. Eddie Lacy.
Oh,
remember
yeah.
Eddie Lacy?
He was even a first round pick in some instances.
First round pick that year. Yeah, coming off a really good season, first round pick, and then all the fat Eddie Lacy memes and reels kind of came out and everything else. Like it was bad. So you see it a lot. So it's frustrating. I feel for you, but don't worry about it.
Travis Etienne in 2024, that was a really bad second round pick.
Yeah, that one hurt so bad. I lived through that one personally.
Right. There's that one. Marvin Harrison Jr. last year was a second round pick. That was tough to mustard. Isaiah Pacheco last year. Like there's been a lot of these things in recent memory that you could say were kind of just as bad, if not even worse. So
Josh Jacobs, the last year with the Raiders.
Yeah.
Right? Like he had a really good, I don't remember how that played out. So he had a really good 21 or 22, whatever it was. And then the following year was just trash. Like we've seen it with him too. So
it was 22 that he was 1,600 yards on the ground. And then the following year followed that up with 800 yards on the ground, missed several games, went from 12 touchdowns to 6. Like that was an awful instance. And that was also a second round pick in 23.
So, like I said, I understand your frustration. You're living in it, and so it feels probably bigger than any of the others. But I would tell you that there's a couple guys every year where you look back and go, "Wow, like we overdrafted the crap out of that guy."
How about Leonard Fournette in 2022?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was rough. I believe Deebo Samuels in 2022 was also a really rough one there as well, right? Because that was right after that big season he had in 21, and then came out and just laid some duds in that one as well, right? Like, so yes, this, to Kevin's point, this one's frustrating and it's very easy to kind of get tunnel visioned on that one and focus in heavily on that one. But no, not the second worst pick in recent memory. There's several that have been just as bad, if not worse, over the last 4 or 5 years. So any other thoughts on this one?
No, sir.
Michael saying trade AJ Brown and Aaron Jones for Rice and Singletary.
I mean, sure. Singletary does absolutely nothing for me, but I like Rashee Rice and Patrick Mahomes more often than not makes a real concerted effort of getting him involved. So I like him more so than AJ Brown by a long shot. And if you don't need the Aaron Jones depth piece, Rashee Rice sets up well for the playoffs.
Right. And that's really kind of where that comes down to is, what that's looking like for your roster, right? Like AJ Brown, I think his flex play consideration on a weekly deal, and it's more name power that's holding him into that kind of position. And what he can, he can pop off for a week here and there. Rashee Rice will get you more consistency. Devin Singletary is interesting because he has been a league winner in the past. He does seem to be garnering some more attention with that New York backfield off of this last week and what we kind of saw there. But I'm not ready to kind of roll out that red carpet saying that he's back and this is the week. This is the league winner. I mean, this was 2 weeks in a row. He's averaged less than 3 yards a carry. It was the 2 touchdowns this last week that saved the week for him and propelled him up. But if he is going to get some of the red zone carries, that does tend to be a bit of a menace. I just the question you got to ask yourself is how often do you think the Giants are going to really get into red zone territory and in the 5 zone to see if Devin Singletary can pound one in there? I would submit to you not very much. So it just comes down to Jones for Rice for me. I think I might lean the Rice side, but if you need the running back depth, I would stick with the Aaron Jones side. Any other thoughts on this one?
Sorry.
Trone over on YouTube, would you trade Barkley and Debo for Chase Brown and Rashee Rice or even Devonta instead of Debo?
I definitely wouldn't do Barkley and Devonta for Chase Brown and Rashee Rice.
No.
I'm going to be honest. I don't see the purpose in this one. Like, I don't love Debo, but I'd take Barkley over Chase Brown. I'd take Rashee Rice over Debo. Like, okay, fine. So you're just splitting where your strength is from running back to receiver. I'd leave Devonta Smith on your roster. Like, he's been the most consistent pass catcher for the Eagles lately. So I think you kind of carry that one out. But I think Barkley starts to see more run. Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of worlds where you could spin that as a pretty fair deal. And it very well might be. But I think I'd sit tight on the Barkley and Debo side. Barkley's still the best player in that deal. Even with having a lesser year. He's healthy and you can still see the burst in his game. The offensive line just hasn't created the holes that he was seeing last year, but there's been a couple different runs where he's one guy to beat and he just hadn't been able to beat him yet. So I think we're going to see some big Barkley games here coming up. And I'd rather if I'm going to go down, I want to go down with Barkley. I don't want to go down with Chase Brown.
Right. I would agree with that. It does seem like you're just kind of shifting pieces, and I don't know that it necessarily shifts in a way that really makes sense unless you really don't have anything at wide receiver. But Debo, Devonta, you've got something there. There's a better deal to be had around that one. Trone saying I have Dirt with Flacco as my backup. In case Dart misses, are there any QB options better than Flacco versus the Patriots, Love versus the Vikings, Lawrence versus the Cardinals, Shuck versus the Falcons, or Young versus the Niners?
With what the Jags did last week, I mean, Trevor Lawrence against the Cardinals is interesting. But I think that might be the only other option that I would look at. But I think right now, I think I kind of let Joe Flacco rip. Like, it'll be different this week with Jamar Chase being suspended if Jackson Dart can't go. But I think I'd keep Flacco and tell you that's probably your best bet for a big upside game.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. I think Trevor Lawrence certainly deserves to be in that conversation. I think Jordan Love could even be a sneaky kind of play there this week if Josh Jacobs misses a little bit of time. We may see them lean a little bit more passing on this one, but I would agree that it would be Joe Flacco would still be the guy I'd put out there to be swinging this week. Fantasy over on YouTube. In PPR, who should I add rest of the season, Christian Watson, Butte, or Michael Wilson?
Christian Watson.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Isaac over on YouTube saying, I traded Pickens for Jefferson and Pittman. I already have Devonta Smith and Ladd. Was it a good move? I have Bijan and Taylor as my running backs and Dak as QB. I just feel that Pickens has more of a boom. I don't know. And Justin Jefferson has a JJ McCarthy problem.
It does. And am I reading this backward? Like the last sentence of that talking about Pickens has more of a boom. I'm confused as to what side we're talking about here. Anyway, Jefferson and Pittman for Pickens. Give me the Jefferson and Pittman side. Like,
right.
I think that helps with any type of frustration that one might have with Ladd McConkey and what's going on with the Chargers here at the moment. Pickens is playing the best of those three here at the moment. But Michael Pittman, up until I guess last week was their bye. So in week 9, whatever that was kind of a dud week for him right before their bye week. But until then, Michael Pittman had been getting there. Like he'd been a very, very solid number 2 wide receiver. Jefferson has kind of been hanging out that number 2. McCarthy's a problem, man. Like Justin Jefferson's such a talent, and they've surrounded him with garbage throwing him the football this year, and it's frustrating.
Down. Trone over on YouTube saying, I'm currently holding 2 defenses, the Packers and the Rams. Would you drop one for a waiver pickup? If so, which one would be the one to hold rest of season? I feel like it's the Rams.
I feel like it's the Rams. I don't know that you need to worry about a defense rest of season, though. Like, if there's a position to stream, it's definitely that one. But, yeah, I would tell you the Rams are probably a more impactful scoring group than the Packers are.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
Don't feel like you're married to them, though.
Yeah. So, there we go. Polar Knights over on Twitch saying, as a barber, I love this show. It has every stage of beard growth. There we go. Not the first time we've actually heard that with the 3 of us on here. Fantasy over on YouTube saying, start 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, tight end flex, wide receiver Rice, AJ Brown, and London. London is likely to miss this week. Running back CMC, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, and Kittle. I have Trey Benson on bench. Where do I need to improve? London injury replacement needed, hence the previous question. So
you're starting Rice, Brown, and Watson. That is rest of season. I still think I'd rather have Butte this week.
Yeah. I could see that.
Rest of season, I understand Christian Watson, but I think I like Butte this week a little bit more. And then running backs are clear, right? CMC and Jonathan Taylor, good for you.
Throw Derrick Henry in the flex and move on.
Yep.
Kittle's your tight end. Trey Benson hasn't been activated from IR yet, so.
So it's just the 3rd wide receiver spot that you're looking at. But
right.
Other than that, it's a stout lineup. I like it. Right. You need AJ Brown to be a little bit more active for you, but Jonathan Taylor and CMC are carrying the way here for your team right now.
Easily. Chandler saying start JMO or Kamara PPR.
JMO. I'm so done with the running game or lack thereof for the New Orleans Saints. I don't want to fight it. And JMO, the good thing about the Lions are they have a never say die attitude. And the Lions go for it a ton on fourth down. Like, they're not afraid to stretch it down the field. Like, I'm going JMO. The Kamara thing was an interesting experiment to begin the season. We thought that he would just live in volume, and that has been anything but the case. So I'm ready to jump ship off of AK-47.
Yep. All right. I like the JMO call there as well. Start Chandler over on YouTube. Start Kelsey or Warren at tight end. PPR. Yeah.
Right. Kelsey had a good game against the Broncos. But tight end is kind of one of the kryptonite issues.
Tight end always has a good week against the Broncos.
Yeah. But if we're talking about this next week, right, because they play against each other, the Chiefs and Colts do.
Right.
I think Ty Warren is going to have a better game than Travis Kelsey. The only thing that makes me want to pivot off of that ever so slightly is the game is at Kansas City. And with that being the case, and now the Chiefs being in full desperation mode, like, that does give me a little bit of credence towards Kelsey. But I think Warren has a nice safe floor.
Yeah, I think he does too. And these two, I think, are really pretty close back to back almost. When you start kind of diving into the rankings, I would lean the Warren side of things. He certainly just kind of seems to be getting the job done this year, even without the a lot of touchdowns along the way. But wouldn't surprise me at the end of the week that these two end up within 1 point of each other. So I don't know that you can go wrong either way. But I would lean Ty Warren in my lineups this week. Trone over on YouTube, a guy in my league that's 9-2 in last place just traded Mbuka to a guy in 8th place, 5-6 for Dwaddle. The guy in Mbuka has McConkey on a bye and no other relevant wide receivers. Collusion or fair?
Yeah, that's pretty fair, right? Like, so don't look at what Mbuka did for the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season. Look at what he's done for the last 3 or 4.
Right.
And that Mbuka to Dowdle, especially in standard, like, more traditional scoring formats, right? In the PPR league, it's not the crazy volume league that we have in our home league,
right?
But I'd tell you that's pretty fair, right? I mean, it's just flipping things around. Like, Dowdle's a top 10 running back the rest of the way, and Mbuka's arguably a top 10 wide receiver the rest of the way. Each one of them have top 5 upside. I don't have a problem with this one. I would tell you this one's completely fair.
Yeah, and I'm looking it up in like half point PPR scoring. Mbuka is wide receiver 34 over the last 3 weeks, whereas Dwaddle is over the same time frame is 7, running back 7 over the last 3 weeks, right? So one could say that the Dwaddle side is getting the better end of the stick there if you're taking just kind of the last 3 week snapshot there, because Dwaddle's also been outscoring Mbuka by about 4 or 5 points per game in a half point PPR scoring. So obviously if there's some different type of scoring formats there that can change things up there, but yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I think that one's pretty fair. It is one of those that, right, like if you're taking it preseason value, yeah, they look worlds apart because Mbuka was certainly the hot hand, came out the gates really strong. Rico Dwaddle was an afterthought. Most folks picked him up on the waiver wire once the Chuba Hubbard injury kind of broke out, and it went from there. But since Dwaddle's been on the field, he's been proving it week in, week out. So yeah, I think over the last few weeks, you could say that's very fair. Chandler over on YouTube asking, traded McCoy for Lacey that year. I'm still sad. Yep, I can see that. So Arturo over on YouTube, trade deadline in 2 days. Is Jefferson a sell or just hold him?
Anybody I think any player on any roster is a potential sell for the right price.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on who your trade partner is, what they're offering up, like what you can, so what you're getting in return for Justin Jefferson means everything, right? Like you're not flipping him for AJ Brown, right? Like you're not doing that. Like you need to find something like, now rest of season, would you flip him for Rashee Rice? Maybe, right? Like again, going back to the same model. If I flip Justin Jefferson for Rico Dowdle, that looks weird off of name value. But if you're talking production over the last month, Dowdle makes more sense. It's potentially better for your roster. So, I would say, if we're going red light, yellow light, green light, I'd tell you it's a yellow light. Like the deal has to be right. But if the deal is right, you hit the gas and you take it. But you're not flipping them for peanuts.
Right. The other thing too, right? Like this is one thing that, depending upon your league setup, right? If it's a true redraft, you're looking to just make the push for the playoffs, lock that up, and what your roster is going to look like going into the playoffs, right? If there's other things at play, right? Like if it's a dynasty league, if it's a keeper type of league, then yeah, you got to take some of that consideration into play there as well. And, what that may look like and impact your roster next season as well. And all of that. But those are all kind of, a little bit more specialized formats and not as popular there. Most of the stuff being redraft. And if it's just a redraft league, I'll tell you that it is, I like that analogy of the red, yellow, green. Like it is very much a yellow light. If the deal makes sense and makes your team better, you hit the gas and go. If it doesn't, you hold on to them and you ride it out. So, any other thoughts on this one?
No, I co-sign. We're good.
All right, awesome. Fantasy sports over on YouTube. On what days do you do live Q&A and what is your X handle? Q&A, you can see it kind of down here at the bottom. We're able to be found on all of the socials at Good Old Boys FF. And the second part of that question on the days that we go live Tuesdays and Fridays during the season, 11 p.m. Eastern, and doing very similar kind of to what we're doing tonight here. So any other thoughts on that one?
No, sir. You covered it.
All right, awesome. Very good. I do believe that that's going to take us down here to the end of this. We'll give the folks, any viewers and listeners, any kind of final moments to throw out any questions or comments, concerns that they may have. But while we're waiting for them to do that, any final thoughts out there for the viewers and listeners?
No, keep grinding, right? We are inching closer to the playoffs. So this is, we got 3 or 4 weeks left until the playoffs start, depending on how your league setup is. So trade deadlines, as we just saw from Arturo, some were last week, some are this week, some are, I think ours in the home leagues week 14. It's the last week of the regular season. Is kind of how we do it in that one. So trade deadlines galore. But be looking, really be looking at your playoff schedules for your players, kind of what that looks like. We peeked at a little bit with some quarterbacks earlier when we were talking Dak or Daniel Jones, but really any of your key guys, go ahead and take a look at. And if their matchups are really bad, maybe you can kind of pull the wool over someone's eyes slightly, right? And say, hey, let's make a deal happen, and you can get someone for a comparable talent level with a much better playoff schedule to increase your chances for success. So, little tricks of the trade here, but feel free to hit us up at Good Old Boys FF. We'll get back to you just as fast as we can, and y'all tune in Friday, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Yep. As Kevin mentioned, we'll be back again 11 p.m. Eastern Friday for the Bet Set Snap, getting ready for the slate of games and the matchups ahead of the weekend. And but that's going to do it for us tonight. Do appreciate everybody tuning in, chiming in, and always a pleasure and a lot of fun to interact with y'all. So Again, appreciate everybody tuning in, chiming in. That's going to do it for us tonight. He's Kevin. Alex was on here earlier, and I am Derek. And have a good one. Oh, Scott, I see your question coming through. Yes, we are just about to sign off. You got the last one if you want to type it out here real quick. So, but like you just got that one in before the buzzer, Scott, if you want to type that in. But I guess while we're waiting there, there is a game on Thursday night that we didn't really hit up much. Any kind of thoughts on the Thursday night game? The Bills and Texans.
Bills and Texans. No, I think Buffalo should be able to handle business here. Now, Houston's defense is no joke, right? Especially the pass defense. But I think between Josh Allen and James Cook, like they're going to find a way to get that rolling. And the Bills are like everybody else. They're getting set, right? They had a couple games they dropped earlier in the season. Pretty good performance last week at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they carry that momentum into Thursday night, and they end up handling the Texans.
Yeah. And Texans rolling with a backup quarterback again for the third straight week. And so I think it will be interesting to see how that one plays out. And it'll be, but I think you're right. I think this one's going to be Buffalo kind of walks away with this one pretty easy. And we'll be left with a primetime game, not very entertaining. So hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm not thinking that I am. So any other thoughts on the game?
No.
All right. Sorry. So final question of the night coming in from Scott here. Fab amounts on AJ Barner and Coker, deep PPR league, 14 teams.
$3 to $5.
Yeah, I'd say about 5% on the high side on that one. So, yeah, even with the deep league, some of that too, Scott, depends upon how much you got left in your fab, right? If you're fab plentiful, right, and you're needing those kind of guys to make it through, and you're in your desperation mode, sure, throw a little bit more at that. If you're running low on fab and we're kind of towards the end of that, you want to make sure that you've got a little bit of held in reserve for the playoffs on that one, right? So typically I like holding about 10% of my overall fab going into the playoffs. That way, when playoff time comes, if I need to have a guy to try and steal a win in the playoffs, I've got the ammunition to go get it done, right? And so I think that about 5% on the max side would get the job done. And I wouldn't be looking to spend more than that. Scott's saying that they've got 4 on Barner and 2 on Coker.
Yeah, that's fair. That's right in line.
Yeah. So, all right. I like it. Any other thoughts on Scott's question?
No, sir.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. He's Kevin. I'm Derek. Alex was on here earlier, and we'll be back again live 11 p.m. Eastern Friday for the Bet Set Snap. But I appreciate everybody tuning in, chiming in. Have a good one. Be safe. Toodaloos.